To some international news and developments in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian fighters are surrendering from Mariupol's last pocket of resistance. You'll know now 3 months nearly after the invasion of Ukraine. Russia's finally sealing, I think, what we could call its first major victory.
Yeah, this follows reports that Ukraine soldiers were ordered by their own leaders to stand down from the fighting and leave the city. Chris Newton is a defence analyst and joins us in the studio this morning to tell us more. Chris, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate your time. First of all, what's your analysis of the situation there with Russia taking the steelworks and now completely in charge of Mariupol?
Yeah, Russia's... thanks for having me, by the way. Yeah, Russia has announced that they've taken the steelworks. This gives Russia some benefits now. They now complete control of Mariupol. Mariupol enables them to complete the land corridor between the eastern part of Ukraine and Crimea, and it enables them access to the port and also the resources, the steelworks, not just Azovstal, but the Ilyich steelworks.
And the steelworks are currently, I mean, they've been almost decimated, been bombarded for weeks as the Ukrainians sort of really just, I think we can say, fought to the bitter end. The key thing now is Russia's motivations and how Mariupol lets them further into the Donbass region. Just explain for people who aren't so familiar with the geography what Putin's ambitions might be and how easy the Donbass region might be for him to take.
Yes, so in this phase of the war, what Russia wants to do is to encircle the Donbass, or at least that was their original objective, which was to encircle the entire Donbass region. Unfortunately for them, they haven't been able to do that. So they've been trying from the north and from the south, trying to have two pincers to encircle the Ukrainian forces there. Hasn't worked. So their ambitions are now smaller. They now want to encircle Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. And these are two cities of around about 100,000 each. But again, these objectives are much smaller, and it remains to be seen whether the Russians can even do that, because the Russians are struggling. The Russians are not making the progress that they thought that they were going to make during this phase of the war.
Yeah, aside from blocking the Sea of Azov, from stopping Ukraine from exporting through that corridor, what actual use are those steelworks and Mariupol, given they've more or less levelled the city?
Yeah, I mean, they've captured. Capturing the steelworks. Well, it remains to be seen, actually. We're getting mixed reports as to what they're going to do with the steelworks. It might be destroyed beyond repair. We're getting reports that the Donetsk authorities want to turn Mariupol into a resort city and not an industrial base. So we're not quite sure yet. But in terms of the value of Mariupol at the moment, it's more psychological in the sense that this is a tangible gain for Russia. But again, the difficulties of gaining Mariupol and the steelworks, puts a black spot on that. They're expecting to get it much quicker.
Just finally, Chris, in terms of our involvement, Liz Truss has been speaking to The Telegraph, its front page today, about providing support for Moldova. Just explain why that would be a strategy the UK government would be exploring.
Well, there has been some degree of activity in Moldova at the early part of this month, false flag attacks. So there is concern that there could be, at some point, some activity in Moldova at a later date, perhaps Russia invading Moldova. And so it makes, obviously they can't do that now because they're busy in the Donbass. But it makes sense. It makes sense to send a signal to Russia that, going down this route, expanding the war to beyond Ukraine, that is not going to be a good idea, because we're going to modernise the Moldovan forces, and therefore it signals a deterrent value to Russia not to go beyond Ukraine.
Chris, thank you very much for joining us. Chris Newton, military historian and defence analyst. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.